Hello and welcome to episode 5 of my beginner's playthrough of Iratus Lord of the Dead. Today we're going to meet our new friend the Lich. I assembled one to begin with. I used some bigger parts this time. I went crazy and gave this guy some epic skull and some rare dust to achieve some additional stat points because I discovered that, again, I just have one brain available. And with this amount of stat points, this guy is just a formidable force with level 1. Okay, I'm going to start with a feature of this guy. He increases Iratus' spell power by 10, so I thought, hey, let's notch it up a little bit more and install the Bane aura as well, because now we're having 22 Iratus spell power buffs. I like that. So for the abilities of the Lich, he's a very versatile guy, able to deal damage and stress damage and support. We're going to have fun with him. I'm going to use him in this episode as a stress damage dealer, as a magic damage dealer, and I'm going to facilitate the support role a little bit, but I don't think I'm going to deep into that. So let's check it out. Going to check the next step of our way here. We're facing a grave, and after that an elite fight with we don't know against what. So I'm going to set up a damage combo first. So, oh well, going for a skeleton to the front line, some zombie into that slot, and yeah, we're going to take the bride into slot 3. I haven't taken that for a long time during this series, and I wanted to the whole time, but well, I need different minions to achieve those goals. So here we have a new guy, the Shade. We're going to bench him for later, because right now I don't want to use him, because 1 minion per episode, like I said. I don't want to overflood this game with too many new things at once. So we're going to head into this fight. I'm seeing a few really nasty people up there, but I think we're going to manage. Or I'm going to lose my preciously built up Lich during the first fight. That could be also happening. So we're having an Ataman against us, like I talked about her the last few episodes. She's going to be first target because she's buffing the team way too hard. So we're going to go into, well, I'm playing damage, so I would want to destroy her block first. And we're going to do... I think I'm going to just focus fire on her. Oh boy, what a grid. So the thing with the Lich is, on this position he can only do 3 things. He can do a Bone Shard spell, which does a lot of damage, but sadly on a random enemy. The command undead thingy gives an ally a massive boost of attack and dread, so that's useful. And the sacrifice spell, oh well, it kills an ally and gives the whole team a lot of vigor back. As weird as that might sound, but it's a super powerful skill, because as long as there is a Lich in your team, that means whenever your enemies try to focus down one of your guys, and you're pretty sure he's going to die anyways, you can turn that loss into a gain for your team, and it's insanely strong. So it's not exactly an everyday situation, but when you need it. I used the wrong skill there. She's immune to she is having a magic block there. So Ataman is walking back and back. Well, it's okay, I think. So random targets. What up here? We're having buffs on everybody, but I still want to focus my efforts into this chick here. Going to go into tank stance for the skeleton. I really want to yeah, I think we're going to Hail of Teeth Ataman, and I just hope that the chest piercer will be enough to finish her off. Good. Okay. Now I can relax a little bit and go for, well, maybe I'm going to go for some good old-fashioned damage over time. That's something the zombie can provide as well. And I think this fight will go a little bit longer for sure. We're getting some shuffle here. Why aren't the mortals dead yet? So here's another funny skill of the Lich. It's the Rain of Fire, which deals... Well, you know that skill from the Mad Mage? It's the exact copy for us. It deals damage to us and the enemies, and it ignites everybody, and, well, I'm not ready to use it yet. Because I like to use skills like these as finishers. For now, I'm just going to hope that the bone shards will hit the right targets. Because although the damage of the bone shards might be randomly targeted, it is extremely high. Ooh, boy. How many buffs does that guy have? So every single +1 buff of the Ataman gave the skeleton here another strike, and those were a lot of swings. Okay, so we're down to the headman. I'm not too happy about that. We're about to lose our zombie dude. So the thing about zombies is they have no natural fallback skill, so we would need a spell for that. Huh. What about... We're going to shoot him. I'm quite confident that I should be able to burst this guy down. I'm going to go for another Hail of Teeth here. More single target damage. Yeah, we have 2 more attacks before this guy can act again, so we're safe. Wow, those were a lot of shuffle skills against us. That was really nasty. Okay, or much more, that formation was very vulnerable to that stuff. So you see, there's a big vulnerability of the zombie versus movement skills, so we would need Iratus' skill to save us from that. Okay. So we're going to bench the zombie for a fight, I think. So... have a rest, my friend, and I'm going to train the Shade here in between. He's going to grow a little bit bigger. I'm going to bench another skeleton here because I think it's time to use our friend as a stress damage dealer. For that, we're going to put him onto the 3rd slot. Possible for that would be the 2nd slot as well, because most of his skills are being usable from everywhere. He would only lose the ability to use Rain of Fire, but as a stress damage dealer, we don't need him with Rain of Fire. So he's flexible for these 2 slots. I'm going to adapt that on whatever might be necessary. So the Toxic Cloud is just pure stress damage on 1 square, so nothing too fancy. His biggest use should be the Dread buff as well. So I think we're going to use Spooky Skeleton and Dark Knight for that, and also Spooky Banshee. Yeah. I have a certain thing in mind. Oh, these can be... Well, we're going to use the Lich in this scenario on spot 4 because I want his buff skills instead of his stress damage. We're going to use him as a supporter, as a matter of fact. I didn't expect that, but I think it's going to be a good decision here. Yeah, I want that Abode of Wrath. Having some Wrath at the beginning of a fight is a very strong asset, so we're going to build a little Dark Knight. So I'm going to explain what I have in mind once we're in combat, so stay with me. I just hope the next fight won't be not compatible with this skill. So, an ancient coffin filled with items. Ooh, tasty. So we have to select something. Sadist's Hand, flat damage increase, Bull Skull, we know that. Essence of Mind, oh my god, I want that. We're going to install that one into Spooky Banshee, or, well, she's going to spam a lot of those Sopranos and some direct damage. Yeah, we're going to use it there. Basically, you could put Essence of Mind also on this guy. With the retaliation, it would be really funky too, but I don't want it like that. So, well, there's a Rock Golem inside their team, but that's okay. It's only one guy we have to kill with direct damage, and I have the ability to deal damage. The only person not being able to deal more severe damage is the Banshee, and that's okay. We're going to deal with that. So, it's a quite simple strategy I have in mind there, so it's nothing too special. We're going to use the Slake with Darkness here. So, to strip the ward off the Doomsayer. So, a sweet little crescendo, and sadly the No Tomorrow wasn't online yet, but that's okay. So, in this scenario, I'm going to use Command Undead as much as possible to just buff these two guys as hard as I can, or use the Skeleton, which is not receptive to buffs. That's how you not do it. We're going to ignore that blooper, and I just pretend that I thought I had the item installed, which makes it receptive to buffs. Pretty sure I had that one in mind. So well, we can hurt this guy with stress, but that's okay. I guess the Golem might be last man standing in this situation. So, one more Slake with Darkness, why not? So sadly that one didn't work out too well, but yeah, here we go. Command Undead, increase his dread, and this kicks him out of the stance. I didn't know that actually, so I have to buff him before he goes into the stance. I have to keep that in mind. Oh well. I guess I have to repeat that one more fight. So, look at that, the Doomsayer was exactly as stupid as me trying to debuff my skeleton. Fortune smirks at least. So there we go. I think I'm going to start to smack the Golem with my skeleton, because this guy is really good at that. So there we go. So the basic idea, which didn't work out this time, is that with Command Undead, the retaliations of No Tomorrow will be a lot harder than they would be normally. But yeah, I just realized that it's pretty hard with the timing, so basically my idea sucks, okay? My idea sucks. I just noticed that it won't work like that. But that's okay. Basically, it doesn't work out because I ignored the fact. Now we're going to Rain of Fire now. I'm frustrated, okay? It doesn't work because of the fact that moving my people does end stances. Thus, it's going to destroy the whole idea there. Oh, and the Doomsayer had the same thing in mind. Okay, so it's not looking too good here, actually. So my idea of supporting was really not that well. And there are two scenarios which will happen now. I'll either oh, I didn't realize his armor was that high. Oh yeah, we're going to scream at those guys and let them skip their next turn. So I'm going to use the sacrifice skill here, I guess, because the guy will be dead anyway, so I completely messed up this fight, so let that be a lesson how to not do it. Okay. But the good thing about this, the other guys of my formation will be very healthy after this fight, so we didn't lose too much health at least. Goodbye, my friend. Oh well. So if you want to use the Lich as a supporter, keep in mind that he moves people while he supports. I didn't keep that in mind, and I got harshly harshly punished for that. But well, that's why it's a beginner's playthrough. Mistakes included. Okay, seems like we have to carve up a new Dark Knight. I'm really sad about losing this guy. He was quite an asset at this point. So we're going to bring up another round. So I want to use it like this time. There we go, and I'm going to put the Wraith into the last slot here. Okay, that should work out just nice. So the Wraith has only a few skills available, and the backline being only one skill there, but he also has a very powerful buff skill. Well, it's a trap, but it increases evasion in such a way that it works like a buff, and we're going to use him there. I'm going to upgrade my buff here to some more severe evasion buff, to 35 evasion. We're going to use it like that. So, damn, I'm still a little bit sad that that this whole thing last fight went so harshly south. Okay, so we can upgrade now what? I think I want to focus this guy's role as a damage dealer a little bit more, so we can either upgrade the bone shards or the bone shards, because the toxic cloud will be a stress damage skill. The sacrifice won't be working differently. Command undead, I can change that up to a drawing back of people, or to way more attack and dread, and this is really much. 1818 is a big buff, really big buff. But I think I'm going to stick with the bone shards, and dealing damage to 2 random enemies and an ally on first position, so at least we can target that really well. Or we have we do a ward ignoring skill. So I'm going to use the shrapnel because I have something in mind which will actually work. Believe me, this time it's going to work, and it's going to be like the shrapnel will be redirected on the skeleton who's in his stance where he counterattacks people when he gets hit. But I wonder what happens there. I mean, he counterattacks, strikes back when attacked. I don't think that'll do anything, but the whole idea is he has a resistance buff, and he's going to be able to tank that stuff a lot better than other people. And he has vampire fangs, so I hope it works. I don't know if it's working. The Lich is a very double-edged sword, but with a lot of skills which hurt your minions as well. But since I still need to unlock the ghoul by hurting my own minions, I felt like it's a good moment to dip into that way. So Banshee will use her Sopranos, and Spooky Skeleton will be just Spooky Skeleton, you know? So that's what we're going to do. I shouldn't be too sad about the Dark Knight. I just realized that all that happened was it opened up a possibility to use better parts on the next minion. So there's another stone golem in this formation, and I think I've learned from my mistakes. I'm going to attack him a little bit differently. I completely derped out those 15 armor on this guy, attacked with a skeleton ineffectively. So, well, let's try out what happens when we shrapnel those guys. So, Spooky doesn't do anything in reaction to that. At least he doesn't counterattack the Lich, but I mean, it would be stress damage, so who would care? We're going to Slake with Darkness here one more time to strip down more wards. And we're going to drop down the Spectral Fog here. So now it's going to be fun. Oh, I'm going to remove this guy's buff. So my skeleton now is really, really difficult to hit. So I'm going to leave him in that stance because I want to try out if I'm able to dodge the Lich's attacks, actually. Because I'm pretty sure I am. So one more shrapnel. Yeah, here goes the miss. So this is pretty effective because I start to ignore the downside by doing this. So yeah, I really need to get rid of this guy. I really, really need to get rid of this guy. But we're pretty close to that anyway, so... And Spooky heals himself pretty well with the counterattacks. It's a wonderful synergy there. Sadly, those counterattacks are completely inefficient there. So this time it works out a lot better. I won't be using Rain of Fire this time. I'm going to stick with the Shrapnels, but not yet because I don't have the dodging buff on him. I just decided that I will only do this whenever I have the dodging buff on my skeleton. Until then, I'm going to use the Toxic Cloud, which creates a field of stress on one square. A wonderful skill. So I'm going to block it out here for now. So Spectral Fog. There we go. Because I realize whenever the shrapnel actually hits my friend here, the amount of damage he suffers from that is quite insane. And it's already bad enough as it is when he gets hit, so... There we go. I like this. I really, really like this. Okay, so I'm going to give this guy some little smite there to do some more damage, which heals up my friend. So let's do some little buff removal. And give this poor fella a little heart attack. There we go. So this worked out a lot better than the last time, didn't it? So with these effects, like damaging your own allies, it's pretty strong. You do a lot of damage. Like this skill does 80 damage to your enemies. It's insane. Compared to other minions, you're not getting that much bang for your buck anywhere else. So there's a Fountain of Restoration ahead. That's wonderful. That's just exactly what we need. So we're going to regenerate to full vigor. And we're up to the boss of this level. So I'm going to look for a little bit of a more optimized setup this time. So we have the shade available, but I don't want to use the shade. So how we're going to do this, I want the Lich with his capabilities for the next fight as well. I think the setup was quite good. I don't know if the Spooky Banshee is the thing I want to have though, or the skeleton that is. I think I want to have a Dark Knight in front, but I'm not sure if I can create one that's able to tank my Lich. But we're going to try that out anyways. We're going to create a new Dark Knight. I have parts. There's the armor. I don't have any valuable parts. There's some good dust. Okay. At least some larger amount of stat points for this baddie here. Okay. So I'm going to buff up a little bit of his armor there. I think I'm going to focus a lot into his resilience and into dread there. I think that's what I want to have. Some evasion. Okay. So the levels don't really... I don't think the levels increase the vigor at all. I mean, we can look it up. Yeah. The level 1 skeleton has exactly the same amount of vigor. So the level does only really give you more skill points and more stat points. So this guy might be level 1, but due to the extra stat points, he should be able to get through this. Okay, we're going to buff the attack of this baddie again one more time. So I think I'm going to use him on slot 2 this time. Yeah, that's how I'm going to do it. Okay, so there we go. Boss fight incoming. I should be able to do it like that. If not, well, we're doomed. So, the Keymaster of the Mines. So he uses a lot of summons, thus this whole formation is going to be working out quite well with stress. So we're going to drop down the spectral fog on my people here. Let's go into the... Oh, I will only use this his skill when he when the enemy get buffed. Ah, damn. Okay. Well, we didn't have an ability point for that, but that's not too terrible. I'm going to drop down a toxic cloud beneath the Keymaster here. So let's check how many buffs these guys will use. Yeah, there we go. Well, mission accomplished. So I'm going to use the command Undead on my Dark Knight here to increase his damaging abilities a little bit more. Some Slake with Darkness, some Crescendo, and there we go. I'm going to keep up the evasion buffs on my allies, so I'm going to stick with that stance for now. We're already almost have double the damage that we had before, so that's quite good. He keeps buffing his guys, so that's well, not bad at all. I'm full wrath. Okay. Alrighty. So the first of those guys are dying. We can drop down that more direct attacks on the Keymaster. That's good. That's what it was needing. More AoE. And, well, the guy has already 2 debuffs on him, so I'm going to use the Hollow Stare on him. When I can reach the guy, I'm going to focus him a little bit harder, due to the fact that the combat will be over as soon as the Keymaster goes down, so I'm going to drop down more of the damage on him. Alrighty. So... he's pretty close to going insane now, so... now it's only a matter of time. Pretty concerned for my Lich, though. So I think I should give him a little bit of evasion buff here. Ooh. Well, you know what? We're going to move him. A little bit of a relocation here, just in case. So, but this fight shouldn't be taking much longer anyways, because the big one is close to a hard attack, I'd say. There we go. Okay, what's the loot? Enchanted bone! Ha! Skeleton becomes receptive to buffs. We can't try the other stunt I wanted to do, the other fight again. So, Shackles of War. Enemies can't escape or become inspired. We're going to use that later. I know for what. Okay, so we're done with the first floor of the dungeon. And I'd say that was also enough for this episode. The thing with the Lich is we're going to revisit this guy a bit more often. I didn't use Reanimate at all, and I didn't talk about the skill yet, so I think it's about time to do that. The Lich can produce a skeleton as he wants to, so you could basically use with the Lich also a formation where you have an empty slot 1. I didn't use it in this episode, but it is a option you could do. The problem is just you have to get 65 Wrath somehow really quick. So if you could do that, though, you have one puppet that can just safely tank your bone shard attacks for you, because it's just a replaceable minion which you can sacrifice and whatnot. So the Lich really shines when he has somebody he can sacrifice, but well, that also means you could alternatively create throwaway minions for your fights with the Lich. That's another possibility. I think I'm going to dive a little bit more into that during the next episode as well. But during the next episode I had well, we're going to use the Shade, because the Headhunter would be the next in the order here on the table, but I'm having a Shade already, so we're going to use that guy the next episode, and a little bit more Lich action, I'd say. So the next area we're going to be heading into are the Dwarf Tunnels, so stay tuned for that. Feel free to drop me a comment if you want to, or a thumbs up or a subscription would be very appreciated here, but I don't mind if you don't. The most important thing is you had fun and you come back again. See you guys. Bye-bye.